Welcome to episode 4 of The Tailored Wellness. In this episode, I'll discuss the concept of luxury, what it is today, what it meant to me, and when I first discovered this world. My first experience in the world of luxury was at Dior. That was in 2014. During my BTS in spatial design, before fashion, I did a BTS in spatial design. I'll explain then. I was lucky at Dior for 5 months in visual merchandising. That was my first experience in luxury, where I discovered the industry, discovered the glitz, Yes, hello, this is Stephen from Maison Dior. Could I speak to? Yeah, it was really amazing. We loved it. And I was in charge handling the window displays, the teams. For developing window display concepts in connection with the artistic direction of the fashion shows, and also a bit of everything to do with pop-up events, figuring out how to showcase the product in a space to tell the brand's story. Let me tell you, the first time you arrive at Dior, your eyes are sparkling, the team was fantastic, and even the people, my mates at the time, would say, "You're doing an internship at Dior, wow." Yeah, I was doing an internship at Dior. It's a whole image and a world that comes across, where for me, I discovered luxury products, high quality, with craftsmanship and expertise. It's actually there that I fell in love with tailoring craftsmanship. I don't know if you know, but Dior loves making those kinds of videos where you see the artisans working by hand, the tailor marking with chalk, hand assembling the collars and the interlinings, in short, everything I love. So that's where I fell in love with it, and that's the visible part, let's say, of luxury today, and it can be at Dior or at other houses. For me, that's what I thought. There you go, that's the image of luxury that was being sold to me. But I quickly became disillusioned. I read a really beautiful book by Thomas called How Brands Killed Luxury. One understands the story and history of houses, luxury groups, and how craftsmanship turns into marketed brands. That's a letdown. In what's happening today, where we no longer really know who, what, or where things stand, for me, the primary definition of luxury is the idea of experience, craftsmanship, and an exclusive side, rarity, something precious. Basically, if you take one of the biggest brands, which I won't name, that sells products worldwide on the same scale as a fast fashion chain, that's not luxury, that's just very high-end fast fashion. We won't say no, but you get the general idea of the situation. I think luxury houses are not global except one. Even then, that's debatable, and we're seeing more houses created, or, for me, those important houses are rarity, craftsmanship, and so on. In my work, craftsmanship is very much present. I invite you to check out Instagram and TikTok. On TikTok, we're always keeping track of things, and of course, there's the website. There, you'll see the hand at work, the tools we use, and our 10 fingers. I have 10, 5 on each hand. It's important to know how to do things by hand, because a machine will never replace the hand, no matter how well you can replace a machine that makes piped pockets or stitches jacket lapels. The hand will always have the touch and feel, which is so important. Nothing's more pleasant than a fine material in your hands. You touch or wear it, and say, "Oh, wow." It's a powerful feeling, luxury. Taking a piece, even visually, you feel comfort and attraction, plus the sensation of touch. Wool that itches and costs €3,000, that isn't luxury to me. That's a nightmare on earth, it's hell. The idea is much more about taking something that will envelop you, in a poised attitude, in something internal, peaceful, and strong. That's what luxury is to me. And how do I approach it today? We go through the know-how that I teach, that I develop, whether it's in schools or with my teams. and we take the time to really do and redo and undo and redo and practice so that we can achieve a level of quality that is handmade, but also the very best. And for me, that also comes from bespoke tailoring, which is a bit like the traditional school of tailoring, especially in London. There's a street in London called Savile Row, which is actually the historic street for all the tailors, and there you'll find the finest fabrics, incredible hands, and all the techniques. Traditional ones that have also been brought up to date, and what I really love about tailors is the rope shoulder. That's when the sleeve head sits up nicely and is really sharp, and that's just so satisfying to see. All of that is part of the notion of luxury. It's also an invisible gesture, a trace. And here I also think of perfume, for example. Honestly, there's nothing sexier than someone leaving a room and leaving their scent behind. That, for me, is just wow. It fascinates me. I love perfume. I collect perfumes a little bit. I collect quite a lot, actually. I love it and I buy a lot throughout the year. It's what you don't see, but what you feel. And I think that's the strongest thing about luxury. There's also this value of time. Because whether you like something or not, it's a bit subjective. But you can't deny the craftsmanship and the time that's put into a piece. You can only be objective about that, because that's time that's really there. It's tangible, and I think of certain pieces we worked on last season. It's 3 or 4 weeks of work for just one piece. On a small scale, for a maison, that's huge, because we're not 40 or 12 in the workshops, we're 4, and we have to be very organized. So that's luxury, being able to take the time, and for that time to be invisible, but still trying to convey that sense of duration in the clothes. Earlier, I was talking about experience, because there's this idea today that, if I look at the current luxury market LVMH, minus 9%, Kering, minus 25%, Hermes, plus 9%, and Richemont, well, Cartier, 9% as well, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's a very complicated field, because I think the maisons are exhausted, and the musical chairs with the creative directors, we take this one, but he goes there. No new people, it's always the same ones playing the same game, so we just swap. We're stuck in a spiral, but it's not really going up or down, it can go down, but it's like a hamster wheel. So someone at one maison ends up there, then here, and we lose that excitement. For me, the first game, the second internship at Dior in 2014, the glitter wore off. Something very strange happened, which I could see in the products. I can't talk about it, but I realized that there's a front stage, and then there are the backstage areas, and the backstage isn't always very pretty. If I take a recent example, it's luxury houses that have sweatshops. So a sweatshop is basically, you have the supply chain of a fashion house, which has their main supplier, called A. And actually, when there's too much work, they delegate it to small workshops. And in fact, you have luxury brand bags that are made in these small workshops for 80 to 100 euros. Then they're finished by the big workshop that delivers to Dior. And in fact, you end up with issues of ethics and human exploitation. And nothing is right. And yes, I think it's up to them to control the entire global chain, to make sure that it has to be properly monitored, quite simply, and in line with labor laws. So yes, in luxury, there's what you see on stage and then there's the backstage. And the backstage areas are not always very good or very healthy. I also saw, for example, at Dior, Bernard Arnault would say, I want Dior to be the new Vuitton. Okay, for me, I hear that. I want Dior to be everywhere, on all sides, everywhere. But if your Dior is everywhere, in every city, is it luxury? Is that what I want to buy? When you go into a shop and see logos everywhere, it's a nightmare. Personally, there's in the pyramid, it's new money, old money thing, where the newly rich show off logos, show money, and the truly wealthy, as we say, don't want logos, they want to be. That's it. The more it's truly high-end European, the less it has logos. But there you go, this whole notion of luxury is very complex. The real issue today, I think the luxury of tomorrow is about going back a bit to what existed before, meaning the human side, the one-to-one relationship with the client, offering an experience where, in fact, you're not just coming from a fashion house and then you don't have access to the creator, not just in the sense of the designer, but really all the creatives in the house. And it's about returning to that more personalized side. Today, I have clients who come because we're a small team. They meet us. We have dinner together. When I travel abroad and they're in the same city, we go out for dinner together. We're really building this community, this relationship that's genuinely friendly, truly sincere, and not just about business. And we exchange ideas about the world, life, business, and work. It's incredibly interesting and enriching. And so we also have this in-house experience where you book an appointment online, by email, by fate, or by email, and then we reply to you, appointment on such and such day, at such and such time, and so on. We welcome you, offer you coffee or tea, sit down with you, ask why you're here, what interests you. It's all bespoke, what I have is ready to wear, but we offer you the chance to change the fabrics, to adjust things to your size, and we guide you through this process, helping you with your choices and the different creative possibilities, with the only limit being the constraint set by the client. And that, for me, is really the most important thing today, because I hear these same people who go to the big houses and complain that they're treated like a number and not like a person. And I find that a bit disrespectful to the client. And the whole idea of being welcomed, it's becoming a bit more commonplace these days. So there are ways of working with these clients to create those relationships and experiences, which are then multiplied by word of mouth. And that's how you build your community. Another area where, personally, we have a little something extra in what we do is that we have the 3D tool. I'll talk about it in another episode another time, but what we offer the client, when we do made-to-measure or fully bespoke creations, is the chance to create. Or tailoring, is that we create an avatar with their own measurements, which is brilliant because it helps them picture themselves a bit more, even if, for now, the faces don't quite look like them yet, though that's changing, with AI currently revolutionizing this field. They have this ability to picture themselves in a 3D garment, which can be viewed on a phone, computer, or whatever device, or even in augmented reality. We send them a 3D object, and they can project it with their phone and see it, walk around it, and get a sense of it on a slightly larger scale, almost as if it were real, to see what the piece would look like on them, at their own scale. So these are things that are new to me. More recently, I helped someone develop uniforms who is currently building an incredible house, someone I have a lot of respect for. I won't reveal the name for now, but again, it's really this vision of luxury that's highly personalized, very exclusive, very niche, where the absence of presence is actually encouraged. More than being present on social media, it would be much better, because everything happens through word of mouth and through the network. And it's a bit like cultivating a secret garden, making the experience all the more surprising, because you don't have that feeling of, oh, I saw it on Instagram, I want my Instagram photo, I rush over there and take the same pictures, so I belong, undoing what everyone else is doing. It's more about not taking photos, not saying anything, and having something truly surprising because you discover a stunning place. And that also makes me think of, well, everything the brands have done in recent years, which is to extend their products into the lifestyle sector. That is, you have the brand, you have the cafe, you have the holiday spot, you have the dog lead, the school bag for your kid, the breakfast cereal, and so on, with all sorts of unimaginable things. Which is great in a way for making luxury and the product more accessible and raising brand awareness, but sometimes it goes too far. I think it gets a bit ridiculous. Or actually, if it's just for the buzz, something that creates a buzz, it rises, it falls, and then we forget about it. My view of luxury is more something that's built up layer by layer, sometimes more slowly, but which is very solid. Again, it's like I was saying about the time it takes for craftsmanship. The time for craftsmanship is, whether you like the visual result or not, the time spent on quality is undeniable. So the experience for the client should be the same. Time is precious, and so we need to be able to create experiences that allow the client to form an emotional attachment to the brand while still being innovative. And above all, everything that the brands have developed around coffee and everything that goes with it, I think today we've kind of hit a wall. We realize everyone's doing it, adding their own twist. So, how do we create new things with this lifestyle system? My team and I laughed a few weeks ago, wondering how to make, say, one-passer rolls more than just a product range. Joking, we came up with the 5 best places in Paris to have a cry. Yes, it's a bit funny, a bit cringe, but that's the point, because I'm always talking about emotion with my team, and actually, they know I'm very sensitive and sometimes, yes, I get teary-eyed quite easily, but hey, we totally own it. But it's a bit like, imagine you're on the train, feeling a bit down or heartbroken. There's the window, your head against the glass, and there you go. It's a bit like being in a taxi. When it's raining and the city lights are flashing by, there you have it. I think you get the picture. So no, I haven't arranged Ubers for my clients to cry in the taxi or anything like that. That's not the aim, at least not yet. But you get the idea. It's about how to build a community through out-of-the-ordinary experiences that are in line with the brand, in this case, my own, Stephen Possoro, and how we're going to manage to offer innovative, creative things where I also challenge myself, because there are topics I don't really want to talk about, but that's what this podcast is for. It's so that I do talk about them, whether it's spirituality or lifestyle things or a bit cliché topics like doing yoga, doing journaling, writing a post-it note, taking time for yourself, setting boundaries in your personal and private life, keeping your mind sharp to run a fashion house in 2025, when hit with crisis after crisis, not to end up in crisis yourself. So there you have it. Luxury, a pretty word that nowadays can mean anything and everything. What interests me is your definition. Do you see yourself in what's offered as luxury today? What's your vision of luxury for tomorrow, considering all this? I'll see you in the next episode.